nurse who cared for Eric Thomas Duncan is now the first confirmed case of Ebola transmitted on U.S. soil, and the health department has issued mandatory quarantine for NBC's Dr. Nancy Snyderman after she was spotted outside a restaurant in her New Jersey neighborhood. Her cameraman that she was in Africa with has Ebola right now, and so they were quarantined. And, you know, should she have been at a restaurant trying to eat something? I mean, it's crazy. People want to know, how is it possible you put all the stuff on and you got everything, and you were the nurse, and how did this happen? How did you get it?
I want to say a few things. First of all, I thought it's irresponsible. I love the CDC, but it's irresponsible for them to state that there must have been something wrong during protocol. Because unless they know that, you shouldn't speculate and put it out there to the public. Everyone is so terrified of getting Ebola that just, I think, put even more fear with the public.
Question the
yes,
system?
and making them, because maybe there was a lax in protocol, but we don't know that.
No.
And I think that until they found out what exactly happened, I don't think that they should have made that statement.
You know what? I think it's interesting that they decided to say that they must have had a lapse in the protocol. Perhaps what people were using was old, because you know sometimes if you've had those gloves around, they kind of wear away, and you put them on and you get a little tiny hole, you don't know.
Right.
So I think all of these hospitals have to sort of look at the stuff that they're going to be putting on people and make sure that they are the newest, that it hasn't been there for 5 years and maybe it's old and falling apart, because it's kind of crazy. I don't think it was them. I think if they did everything they were supposed to do, they might want to look at what the stuff they're using.
And also a nurse said on NPR, they interviewed a nurse, and she said that she finds it very offensive that they're blaming nurses.
Yes.
And because if the nurse did something wrong, then the fault should also lie on the people that taught them how to do it.
For sure. And you know, what I read this weekend for the first time is that they're saying they're training hospitals. All that you have to do to check that box that you've trained a hospital is sometimes post a flyer on a bulletin board. That is not training in my mind. That's covering your ass. Like, I used that word again.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
And she's the conservative one.
But it's a lot of people protecting themselves from liability and responsibility instead of actually, I mean, nurses are on the front lines for all of us, not just Ebola, for everything. So I'm uncomfortable with them blaming
ask you a question, because this has been on my mind, and I wanted to ask you last week. Don't you think, because they're doing all these screenings, don't you think maybe they should be screening people before they leave Africa to come? Shouldn't there be screeners? I mean, I didn't want to. Because they keep showing this map of where they're screening people. I noticed they're not screening anybody in L.A. I think that's weird. Because what if you have families,
right?
But
I mean,
what
those
if you
people
have
live in a
family
bubble.
in L.A.? Shouldn't you be screening? I mean, if you're African and you're going to L.A., don't you want them to screen you? I mean, I want you to be screened everywhere, but I think if you're screened before you get on the plane, it might be easy to catch. You know, not get, but say, oh, you got a fever, don't get on.
You know, there's all kinds of speculation that if they start screening people, let's say in Liberia, that the entire country will be dead. If we prevent people from leaving Liberia or coming into Liberia, right, that's one of the hot spots in West Africa. And there was a wonderful cartoonist who did an illustration recently about the crisis of Ebola, that there were 3,000 dead people before it really became very prominent news. And if you see the cartoonist, all of the dead African bodies and the one dead American, and all the camera crews are around that. I thought it was profound and accurate, and I think that we should think more globally than we do as a nation.
Because Ebola doesn't care. See, Ebola doesn't care where you're from. It doesn't care. French, Italian, Greek, you know, come on now. Y'all said to trust you. I'm just saying, you might want to tighten up how you're doing this, because I don't want it.
And it's all about, we keep reiterating the point, it's about being responsible. And I want to talk about responsibility when it comes to Dr. Nancy Snyderman.
Yes.